Hello, beloved. This is Paladin Fear for Christ. Once again, I have insomnia, but the Lord put it on my heart to share my 2 rapture dreams real quick. The first dream I received around September 18th, right before the first watch was complete with the September 23rd and 24th Feast of Trumpets. So in this first dream, I was standing in my backyard looking up at the night sky. The sky was clear, and I was looking up at a full moon. And at the time, there was an eclipse that happened on the 22nd. And so when I was looking up at the moon, for like a brief second, like a flash, I saw an eclipse, and then it went back to a full moon. And then like this ripple went across the full moon, and it looked bigger than a normal moon that we usually have. It was very big, but the moon seemed to glitch, right? And then the next second, I was shooting up, like straight for the moon, like at impossible speed. I could actually feel the air and the wind hitting my face, rustling my hair, my clothes. And it wasn't scary at all. I actually found it to be a rush, like going through a roller coaster. And I was really excited. That was my feeling. So I was shooting through the air really fast, and then my perspective changed, and like at a third person perspective, it's different. I could see this platform. So there was these clouds, and I could see that I was moving past the clouds, and cushioned on top of the clouds was like this platform. It was a oval-shaped platform, but there were buildings and gardens, and it was very, I don't want to say Romanesque, just ethereal. The architecture was very ethereal, like you would expect. And I was placed on the platform. In essence, it reminded me of an ark. It really was an ark, just not what you'd expect to see. So next, I moved into one of the buildings, and the scene changed to inside a chamber. And there was white alabaster walls. It was very modern-esque. There wasn't many furniture that I remember. It was just very bright. Like the walls were emitting light. That's what I sense. Like light moved through the walls, like they were alive, like the actual material, the alabaster wall. It was transparent, and I was moving my hand along the walls, and the surface was very smooth, and And there was no fear. I was just really happy to be there, but just looking around curiously at like what was in front of me. And suddenly, the doors, there was no doors. Like the way that it moved, the walls moved and closed seamlessly. Like I was closed into the chamber. And it all became just four walls. And the sense I have is that we were getting ready to move out into the second heaven, and the ark was closing. It was closed shut, and we were going off on our cruise home. And I was so uplifted after this dream. Even though I didn't see Jesus, I knew that I was probably going to see him very shortly. Like he probably would have appeared to me right then in the dream after the doors closed. It was that sort of feeling. But that gave me like faith, helped build my faith when God gave me that dream. It was confirmation. Because I've never in my life ever had a rapture dream except when I was very young. And funny enough, I still remember it to this day because at the time I was going to a babysitter, and I dreamed that I was in her large expanse of a backyard. That it was just a big steep hill, but I was like floating. I would jump and I would float a distance, and then I would slowly glide back down, and I kept trying to jump, and I'd slowly fall back down again. And as I would float higher and higher, there were these people below me trying to like grab my leg and try to keep me from floating up higher into the sky. And I don't want to think about who those people were, but you can imagine. My innocent mind just found that kind of dream very freeing. Just fond. It was a fond feeling, flying up and like a bird. But many years have passed, and for the longest time I didn't dream at all until right before the high watch. And I didn't even want to ask God for a dream because I didn't feel like I needed it per se. Because I believed he was coming anyway. Because of I've always been watching the Feast of Trumpets for at least a decade. And so that was my first dream. And of course, September 23rd and 24th passed. And I wasn't dejected when it passed. I figured there was more to it than what we thought. So I went into heavy prayer, and for a few days I just dove into the Bible and just asked God to show me more, to show me what's next, because I knew he was coming and he was going to show us and he was going to vindicate us that yes, indeed, we are indeed leaving on the Feast of Trumpets. I just believed it in my heart and soul. And of course, then there was the discovery that we were on the Gregorian calendar and we moved to the Julian calendar, which was the calendar that existed during Jesus' time when he was alive on earth. And so we set the date to October 6th and 7th. But on October 1st, I got my second confirmation rapture dream. And to be honest, I want to say that I was upset in part that I had to go back to work because I had gone on vacation hoping the rapture would happen. And when I was finalizing my vacation with my boss, a voice told me, like a little voice in my ear said, October. Set it for October, kind of. And I was like, what? October? I'm not going to be here. So I set it for mid-September that it was going to cover the Feast of Trumpets. And boy, when I had to go back to work, I was not a happy camper. And it's not because I don't love my job, but as I've said before, I'm under a lot of demonic attack from certain people at my job. And also, I have a condition that causes me to be in pain, just almost constant pain. So when I'm working on my feet for hours and hours at a time, it gets really excruciating, even with, ibuprofen, and I don't take anything stronger than that. I should be on disability, to be honest, but I just don't feel like I could survive that way. So I keep at it, and I ask God for strength every day, and somehow I get through it. But I was like, God, you know how hard it is for me to work, and can you help strengthen me? Can you show me, like, please rapture me on a day when I'm not at work, so I'm at least in the right state of mind. And God had told me they need to see you. They need to see you. And like, at first I didn't really know what that meant, because you see me all the time. I knew what he essentially meant was that they need to see me as I'm going up, as I'm raptured, because seeing is believing for some people. And I was like, gosh, well, if it's for your kingdom, your will be done. But it's going to be rough. I thought I only had a few days, that I'd only have to wait a few days, but then October 6th and October 7th went by. And then October 16th and October 17th, and I have to say, it's harder having to work in this condition when the date keeps being pushed farther and farther, but you can still see the end in sight. It's been a rough ride for me. I'm grateful to God for all He's done for me, for being faithful even when I am stubborn and not being very, very good. But on October 1st, the Lord gave me a second dream, which I totally was not expecting. I didn't feel like I needed that dream either, but God knows what I truly need. He knew I needed something tangible to hold on to keep me going, because I have been run ragged, and I just want to leave this body. I want to leave this body behind so much and get my new sanctified body. But in the dream, I was at my job, and I know I was because of the ceiling. I was looking up at the ceiling, and I could recognize the tile, the paneled ceiling. That is just way too grimy and needs to be replaced. I knew it. I was there, and I guess my sense is that the shofar must have blown, and so I was looking up, just filled with pure joy and exhilaration. Like all these emotions just flooded through me at once. I was like, God, thank God, it is finally here. It is finally time. No more pain, no more sorrow, no more rejection from people and abuse from people. Just, I was so ready to go, and I was like, take me now, Lord Jesus. And I put my hands up, open wide, and I said, I love you, Jesus. And I would say that I said it just like that. And I heard audible gasps around me. I couldn't see who was there, but I heard gasps, and I could feel my body humming and shaking. Not like violently, but like I was vibrating like a bell that had been, what's the word? Struck. A bell that had been struck, and a vibration like music and light and purity. Like, it was beautiful. Just rushed through me. And my voice even vibrated. And I could feel like I was ready to, like a rocket. I felt like I was building up a vibration, and I was going to shoot off like a rocket towards heaven. And beloved, that is exactly what I did. Because after they gasped, and like, I sighed out loud. I was like, ah, and my voice was like shaking, but it was like a musical sigh. Like I was releasing a lifetime of oppression and sadness and sorrow and depression and anxiety, and I was just releasing my life to Jesus. Everything that had been holding me down, my flesh, everything. Like I was releasing my spirit to Jesus, and I was finally saying goodbye to this flesh. And suddenly, everything was bright. The ceiling just rolled back. It split open, actually, like a rift. but it was just flooding in. The ceiling broke open and I was in another dimension. Heaven had come down to get me, and God's Shekinah glory filled the space. It was all around me. I was basking and floating amid God's Shekinah glory. And as closer I got, like the farther I got into the Shekinah, I could feel I was changing. I was different. I was who I was meant to be. I was with Jesus, my God, my Creator, and I was free. I was free. It gets me every time. I try not to think about it because it was so intense and so beautiful. Beloved, it is so beautiful being in His presence. And I was alive and I was in His presence. In His presence. Literally, and yeah, this is my sense. Like my rotten, decrepit flesh that I loathe so much. My diseased flesh and corrupted flesh was burnt away. It was burnt away. I felt nothing. In the presence of God, it just evaporated to dust. And underneath was my beautiful spirit. My spirit. My sanctified body. It's in there. It's already in us. It's just waiting for us in heaven in God's presence. And I knew then I was going to be with God forever. And when I woke up, I was like, I snapped awake and I was breathing hard and adrenaline was rushing through me. My heart was pounding. And I was like looking around, bewildered. But suddenly I realized what it was. It was a beautiful rapture dream. And I thanked God. I thanked God from the bottom of my heart that He showed me this because of how downtrodden I was, having to go back to the lion's den and having to be under the stress. It was His way of telling me to hang on. Beloved, that's what you have to look forward to. That's what you have to look forward to, okay? Death. Death might seem scary. But really, what's waiting for you in heaven is so beautiful. I promise you. Death is nothing. Death has no power over you. If you have Jesus, death is not, this is a second thought, okay? There's no reason to be afraid. Because the eternity before us is glorious. I can't even imagine spending eternity. Like, none of us can fathom how long eternity actually is. It's just an abstract thought, right? It's the only thing that's kept me going. The second watch, the third watch, and now we're about to enter the fourth watch. It starts tonight at sundown. Beloved, please endure all trials, even if you must experience suffering. It's worth reward of eternity with Jesus. There is nothing in this world that could stop me from being in God's presence. Like, hands down. And I mean it. You have it in you. If you must, you have it in you to endure. Heaven is beautiful. It is the source of all happiness, serenity, beauty, creativity. And God lights up heaven, and He's gonna be the light on earth. He's going to come to earth, to a new earth, with no pain, no suffering. Please don't take the mark. Don't take it. Because your destiny is to be a child of the Most High. And I really hope that this has uplifted you. I love you, even though I've never met you. All those that love Jesus are my brethren, my brothers and sisters, and we will be together for eternity. And I hope to see you. I will see you up there, brethren, beloved. Just hold fast and cling to the glorious destiny that you have in Jesus Christ. Take care.